below the line thinking is when you're approaching something either as the victim, the villain, or the hero. And then above the line thinking is when you approach something in a creative way. So either you create, you coach, or you challenge.
I like that a lot. Awesome.
Yeah, it reframes. And I will say too, one thing that I thought was helpful.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing swell.
It's good.
What are we going to talk about?
Well, I asked if we could talk about Brené Brown's new book.
Strong Ground.
Strong Ground. Yes. I listened to it over the last couple weeks, and I had a virtual book club with Brené last week, and I'm super excited to talk to you about it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was busy during the Zoom call or whatever, like the book club. But that would have been a lot of fun. I kind of forgot that you did that because I was busy doing stuff.
Yeah, they had this really neat thing where if you bought the book, then you could also join a virtual book club. So there's thousands of people on this call with her. And it was, I didn't get to see everybody. It was a webinar format, but it was really cool to hear her. And she answered questions that we submitted ahead of time throughout, and was on for, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, but really brought it to life.
Yeah. So you told me we should talk about it, and I'm like, okay, I'll start listening. And I'm maybe about 6% through. Okay. Which is also called 2/3, I guess. But
you could call it 2/3.
Might be further along. Not sure, but
okay.
I think it's an 11-hour listen or something. But I feel like I'm pretty far through. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't read like any reviews, or I didn't really know what it was about, except for it's Brené Brown, so it's probably going to be about like leadership and effectiveness in positions of leadership and all that stuff. And I was, again, with most of her stuff, like very excited about how much it applies to both work life and home life, or any aspect of life. It's all connected, right? And a lot of the books that you and I both read and listen to, I think do that, where it may be like Seth Godin, Simon Sinek. A lot of them are like, oh, this is about leadership. This is how to show up at work. And I'm like, when I read it, my lens is like, oh, this is how I want to show up in my whole life, in my world, like with my kids and lessons I want them to know. And I mean, it's the same thing. If you want to show up in a position at work as a leader, well, it's kind of how you want to show up in life too, right? It's like all these things. So anyway, that was like my first inkling of what I got from it, and I was really happy that it actually came up like right about where I had to like stop listening and like actually prepare a little bit for recording.
Sure.
So I was like, well, even she's saying it, like, so I was pretty jazzed about what I've heard so far, and I'm gonna have to go back because stuff like this, I can't take it all in and really digest it in just one pass. So I'm excited that we have the hard copy and the audio.
Should I?
Yeah, show that off.
Hard copy?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really pretty too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's great.
But, and it's a nice,
it's a strong book.
A meaty book.
Yeah.
It is a meaty book.
Yeah.
But really, really good.
There's a PDF too with the audio.
Yeah, with the audio book.
Yeah. So anyway.
Which is good.
Where do you want to start?
So, I'm going to just take out my notebook because I wrote down some different notes.
Yeah.
And so one thing that the first thing that I really wanted to just talk to you about was I liked how she started the book with an analogy of working out and
training.
Or
was it pickleball?
Oh, she was
doing pickleball, and I was like, yeah, we're looking at that a little bit. Like, we're just doing tennis for the most part. Like, this is the only sport I've really, but anyway, Yeah, it caught me right away.
Right. And so, and kind of an injury, and how do you work through that? And when you get a personal trainer, or I know, I work with a physical therapist on some things. They're often focused in on what is the primary issue underlying
Yeah,
everything.
the foundation,
The
right? Yeah, that's
foundation.
what, and yeah, obviously it really resonated with me.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, why is she talking about pickleball? And then I'm like, oh, this is where I'm at. This is where I was all summer of like, you said I was trying to be Andre Agassi, which I couldn't do if I tried.
Think you were, though.
But I
You're trying.
overdid it, hurt myself, and I had to kind of restart and reset, and I thought I'd already done that a few times, like building up the strong foundation.
Right.
And I do have a fairly good foundation, but it's like I have to have the humility to go back and start back before be where I don't want to be. I don't want to be a newbie. I don't want to be having to take time to stretch.
Right.
But I have to. I'm not the kid's age. I'm not, like I can't just go from waking up to 5 minutes later running. I have to really ease into it. So anyway, I was like, okay, we're going this route. Oh, okay, this is what I need to hear. Like get that a strong ground, right?
Strong ground.
Foundation.
That strong foundation. And one of the things she was talking about is how she was working on strengthening her core, right? And how important it is to strengthen your core. And she used the idea of kettlebells.
Yeah.
And
I do not like kettlebells.
You don't like kettlebells? Why don't you like kettlebells?
Because I'm so broad that trying to reach and go between it, so I tend to do them on the sides.
Sure.
Anyway.
But the one great thing about kettlebells is that they don't just hit one muscle group typically. Normally, the moves that you do with them are going to hit multiple different groups. And so you can have the same impact with one thing or, one exercise, which is kind of nice.
Compound movements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that analogy a lot. And I thought that's a really great metaphor or analogy.
Yeah.
Metaphor.
She uses the strength training, physical therapy, working with a trainer is like the metaphor that's kind of weaves throughout the entire book. As far as I can tell. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
it does.
I think I have 3 hours left. So I mean, she even called it that at one point. She's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And one of the pieces that I thought really helped me be like, oh, okay. So it's not like I'm going to go and be like, okay, I'm going to grab my kettlebells and just start working because that's going to help me. Well, it will help me physically, right? But if I'm working on leadership skills or like you were talking about moving forward, personal projects and things that you want to do in your personal life, you still need that strong foundation. So when things are coming at you that you might not be expecting, or I was going to say a surprise, but I guess that's also something you're not expecting, right?
Yeah.
But you can act in ways that are more intentional, more calm, and not just be reactive to it. And that really is a skill, and it takes time and energy to build that foundation to be able to do that consistently.
Yeah, that came up, and I was like nodding. I'm like, okay, good. She's bringing this up, and I write about it every week. Did I react or did I respond? And the react has kind of the connotation of I'm coming from a place of impulse and reactionary, right? Like that. And responding means I'm grounded and I can hear the information and say, okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said that so many times over the last couple of years, but I still need to practice it. I still find myself reacting instead of responding. And, yeah, so it just, interesting to hear that come back up, and it's so tied to that foundational layer that I want to have, which it does. I don't want it to take such an effort to get back to that place.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If something surprises me, right?
Yeah.
That I think, because does she even bring up? And let me know if you're going to get to it later. But she brings up the uncertainty and how I think she and I have some similarities of when we're surprised and how we deal with it, or how it manifests, whether it's anger or and it all comes out of fear. She gets into that again, and she's, I don't know, she just articulates things that I feel that I forget how to express or how to point out to myself so that I can get more clarity.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about uncertainty and things like that, and how you react or respond to things, one thing in the book that stood out to me and I found incredibly helpful was the concept of above the line and below the line thinking.
That really, that's like one of my only notes. I mean, that I remembered to write down.
Yeah.
It really stood out to me.
Well, I've actually used it a couple times this week. Okay. Since I read it, because so the idea is when you are faced with something, a situation, and you need to act
like a surprise,
you can either come from a place which is below the line, which is when you're acting in a way either as a victim, a villain, or the hero. Or you can act from above the line, which is when you are going to be coaching, creating, or challenging.
Yeah.
I wanted to get the last C.
Yeah. I was like, you're remembering all these.
I knew all of them, but challenge just caught me a little bit. But I found that really, really helpful, because sometimes when you're surprised by something, I mean, I know there's been moments where all of a sudden I'm below the line thinking. I'm trying to think of a good example of something where I'm just all of a sudden I'm like, oh.
Someone comes to you and they said, Laura, I sent this email to so-and-so and they were not happy with the fact that I included this information.
Right.
And you're just like, oh.
It kind of mimics a really good example she had in the book.
Yeah. Yeah. That was probably one of her examples.
That was
right?
one of her examples.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where you can easily start to go to, I could have been the hero. Why didn't I do this myself? Now people are going to think that I don't know what's going on in my area that I'm overseeing. People trust me, but now they won't. Right. So you get like that victim.
And I think, and you start to kind of vilify the person that took the action.
Yeah.
And you can maybe be a little harsh on them.
Right.
Right. Which is, I mean, when somebody messes up, like, they need to be held accountable, but the way you do that matters.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think I've ever really seen you treat anybody poorly that's made a mistake, but that doesn't mean our headspace doesn't get into a spot where we may be reacting and having some feelings.
Right. Well, I mean, if you think about like you and I don't think we treat each other poorly, but like there's moments where something might happen. Like say, I'm trying to think of a good example. No. Oh no, are you worried?
Yes.
Don't be worried. Say it's something as silly as, like, what about this one? So, we need to get something from the orthodontist so we can submit it to our HSA so we can get reimbursement and pay said orthodontist, right? And I think it was at the very beginning, I kind of said, do you mind, can you call? And you're like, yep, I'll call. And there's one day that I hadn't heard whether or not you had called or anything like that. So I'm like, well, I'll just call, And so it was kind of, I didn't ask you if you called. I didn't, I just went ahead and did it.
And they were probably annoyed because I had called.
Yeah, they didn't seem like they had any idea that they had talked to someone about it already.
I'm sure you talked to a different person.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I messaged, I said, just want you to know, I called, everything's fine. And you wrote back and you said, oh, I did that, but I forgot to tell you, sad emoji.
Yeah.
And so I think both of us.
Well, because I knew it took time out of your busy day and effort, it takes energy it takes energy for me to get on a call like that, because it ought to be simple, but I never know if I have 100% of the information or am I giving them the right information, or do I have the right question to ask them to get what I need? That's the daunting part for me, is I'm asking for something that I was told to ask for. I don't even know 100% what it means, because it has to do with these binders of policies and things from insurance, and I'm just we're just trying to pay our bill.
We just want to pay it.
It shouldn't be that hard. I'm not trying to avoid it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I have to talk to somebody. Oh, no.
Right. Well, I don't, so that might be a silly little thing, but I could see how if we weren't having the best day, like me or you, if either one of us was stressed out or feeling really depleted, how a conversation or text exchange like that, where I didn't think you had done it, but you hadn't told me, and all those things.
By the way, Keith, I took care of that thing I asked you to do.
Right.
You don't do that.
I don't do that.
But it could happen.
Right. Or you could interpret it that way if you're below the line.
That's what I meant. I can really interpret things that way, for sure. I definitely am always looking for, what did I do wrong?
Yes.
Yes, and that's a state I like this. That's why the above the line and below the line stood out to me, as I'm oh, this is that. This is very similar to me not wanting to be, I guess below the line for me would be, okay, being skeptical. This is, if I choose this, I might lose something. And above the line would be me coming more from a space of what do I have to gain?
Right.
That I've been talking about. And so I feel like they're very, very connected. And I really liked I don't remember exactly who she pulled those triangles of terms from that help describe how you act, the hero, villain, below, and then the creative and challenge. And I really liked those. And I was ooh, so I made a bookmark. I wrote it down, and then I was wait, there's a PDF. And then as I was looking through the PDF, I think she introduces and she goes, so this is in the PDF. And I'm okay, so even she knows that this is a really powerful concept for people, because it gives you I think it places you in a position of power of choosing how you want to show up.
Yep.
Once you can see how you are showing up.
Yeah.
Because I don't like showing up out of it as I probably like showing up as a hero more than I want to admit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But what I think they're talking about is I'll do it all myself. The rugged individual that I can't rely on anybody else, therefore I'm going to do it. I like helping and being there to support people, or if I can do something for somebody, I like doing that. But if you flip that, that's more of being creative. I want to come at them more as a creative way, or, oh, here's a challenge I can help somebody with. Whereas then on the other side, I think when, instead of being harsh with somebody that's maybe made a mistake, or is maybe going about something not the best way, especially in your opinion, but when you see your kids about to make a mistake, instead of scolding them, it's more of okay, how can I challenge them to think about this differently? And that's the more positive way of doing it. So anyway, I'm definitely gonna have to go back and look at that some more. But I really liked how it supports what I'm trying to do, as well as gives me some more tools or some more ways to think about how can I show up when I'm feeling uncertain, or when I'm feeling frustrated, or anger at something not going the way I want. Maybe what's the best way for me to show up?
Yeah.
And I guess even that brings up, usually when I'm upset, if I can pause and pull back and go, okay, can I change what's making me upset? Is it in my control?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sometimes when someone's giving you like that news of like, I messed up, this is wrong, it's going to affect you.
Yeah.
What's done is done kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So spiraling or going below the line isn't going to help you move forward.
Right.
So I don't, again, like that's pretty much where I left off in the book. So I don't know if there's more to it than that, but I'm excited to see.
Yeah. So maybe just really quick, is it okay if I just repeat what those 3 different things are?
Yeah.
Above and below, so anybody that's listening can kind of get a sense of what it is. So below the line thinking is when you're approaching something either as the victim, the villain, or the hero. So those are the 3 pieces. And then above the line thinking is when you approach something in a creative way. So either you create, you coach, or you challenge.
Oh, the coach, I forgot about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Awesome.
Yeah, it reframes. And I will say too, one thing that I thought was helpful was that Brené said, sometimes I'll even say, I'm seeing that I'm going to possibly be going below the line right now. So I'm going to take 5 minutes and go take a walk, and I'll be right back. And so I thought that was also helpful of being clear, right, about where you are and giving yourself a little grace that you don't have to all of a sudden just be like, ta-da, I'm always above the line thinking and I never go below the line. That's not human.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Well, and it goes beyond simple awareness. It goes into, okay, I am aware that this is where I'm at. Now what action am I going to take to make sure I don't keep showing up in the way I don't want to?
Right.
Because below the line, right?
Yeah.
Is not how you want to show up. It's not as effective, and it's not as, I guess, kind to yourself or the other person usually.
Right.
So
yeah,
I like it.
Me too. I want to talk a little bit about the chapter on pocket presence.
Okay. This is a football analogy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I was going to ask you, do you know what they mean by pocket presence?
Yes. I got to that. I don't remember where it was, but I did get to that.
Okay. So what is pocket presence, just for those that are listening that
so
might be
it's a
like,
sports
what?
metaphor for football.
Yeah.
Quarterback is like the leader of the team, or usually the leader of the team, definitely leading the offense. And their awareness when they're within the pocket, which is like the U-shaped line that the offensive line creates to support them, to give them time and space to make the throw.
Yeah.
That's how she describes it, which I'm like was very, very good. But they usually they're trying to create a space in which they can move without getting tackled, right?
Yeah.
And the more successful quarterbacks tend to have a really good presence in the pocket and awareness where they can feel like that kind of spider sense of are they going to get hit from behind? Because if they're facing this way, they can't see behind them.
Right.
And they also have to kind of have the one thing that comes to my head is they need to have the trust with their teammates to know, like, okay, they're supposed to be protecting me, so I'm not going to waste my energy worrying and not executing what I need to, thinking about what might be happening behind me. It's like, no, I need to focus on what I'm actually supposed to be doing. So, I mean, that's the gist of it from in my head, is just knowing how to operate in there, and sometimes knowing when to run. It's the other thing that came to my mind when I was hearing that. It's like, sometimes you just got to get out of there because the protection breaks down. And so anyway, but so it comes up. So what's standing out to you about it?
I really like the analogy because it helped me think about, okay, so when you're the quarterback, you're in the pocket, you need to trust your team. You need to be super prepared and have so many reps to have that calm confidence under pressure. It was just really helpful. She talked about an example in the book about where she went to a organization and was talking to a whole bunch of C-suite executives. And there was someone there and they said, how did you do that? And so what Brené talked about was, well, tell me, what was your preparation for the meeting? And not to shame, but just to get a sense of what did this person do to prepare? And they had gone over the PowerPoints, looked at the agenda, spent maybe 20 minutes preparing, for it. And she said, well, what I did is I went over the agenda, read all the materials. I went back and I looked at multiple different videos that the CEO had done. And she had done really deep research above and beyond what was just simply listed on the agenda.
It made me think of you because I did listen to that part. I did get to that. And I was like, oh, this is what Laura does. Like, I see you're like, I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, I got this meeting next week. And I'm like, okay. And like, I think Brené's like, well, I listened to 2 earnings calls or whatever, for whatever she's doing. And I'm like, I'll get a message from you. You're like, I'm on my way home, but I'm going to listen into this call.
This legislative.
Yeah. And I'm like, yep. I'm like,
that's what she does.
I'm like, she's preparing. she's on it. So anyway, like when I was listening to that, I'm like, oh yeah, Laura, she knows how to prepare. Like she definitely doesn't sell herself short in that arena of if I'm going to show up, I'm going to show up as prepared as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's not fun to not be. That's for sure.
Well, I will say I used to see the preparation I used to do as, and maybe I still do sometimes. I used to see it as, I'm doing this because I'm an imposter and I don't belong here. And I have to prove to myself and to other people that I do know what I'm talking about. But I think more and more I've used it as a way to help me ground myself and be confident and ask better questions of teams. So I do, that is something that I really like to do.
Well, just like the anecdote in the book, the gal that came up and asked her, how do you do that? And then she responds by saying, I take a lot of time and effort to prepare.
Yeah.
That the other gal was probably thinking that, oh, you just show up that way and it's some innate ability and skill. And just like you said, oh, I used to do this because I thought I was cheating kind of, it's like, well, studying for a test isn't cheating. It's what you're supposed to do. Right.
Right.
And so preparing for a big meeting or showing up at a conference and knowing the things that you ought to know and help you show up the best you can. Like, oh, that's how people show up the best is doing the work. But like, if you don't see that, you don't see people doing that. You just see how they show up and you're like, oh, it must be effortless.
Yeah.
They just show up and do that. It's like, well, it's kind of funny. It's like the object permanence. It's like, if you don't see it, it doesn't exist. It's like, okay, let's remember, like, we know that if something goes behind a curtain, it's probably still there. Like, we're not children anymore. So it's just one of those things. Because I do the same thing. Like, I'll fall into that mindset of, not enough, or I don't know how to show up this way or that way. And it's like, oh, I bet the person that's excelling at the thing that maybe I see and I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. I don't see behind the scenes of how many hours they've put into practicing that thing. But if I can get outside of my own head of just wishing and wanting to show up a certain way, it's like, oh, it takes work and practice. Anyway, it's just a good reminder for me to make it happen, not just waiting for it to fall in my lap.
Yeah. Well, and I also think, so we're using an example of meetings right now, but I do think that there's also that greater pocket presence. I don't know if that's a thing, but about how you're trying to prepare yourself for the stress and the almost certainty that there's going to be uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right? Because like a quarterback, you trust your team, but you never know when your left guard's going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do that right? Left guard?
Yeah, they protect the quarterback. Yep.
I just wanted to
So does the right guard.
Okay. That makes sense. I was going all in on a football analogy, and I was like, I think I got this.
Yeah.
But you don't know when that's going to happen and when your pocket is going to start collapsing in some way or another. Like you said too, sometimes you have to decide, how am I going to get out of this and approach this play a slightly different way? It's important to know that, and to know that what you're doing in preparing isn't necessarily always just for the meeting. What you're doing is also preparing for those things that you can't anticipate. And so you can be more comfortable and confident and calm when you have to make those calls.
Yeah. When things don't go as planned, that can cause stress. But so like the football analogy, when the quarterback has to scramble and like run out of the pocket and either try to pick up the first down by themselves, getting, to the line with their own legs, or they're just peeling off and creating space so that they can maybe chuck the ball down the field, right? Usually that is some of the most creative and fun things to watch. Is just looks like something that you just created out of midair, but you see them, they're pointing, and then the receiver sees it and they get off of their route and they go somewhere else. So
Right.
it's like they can call an audible on the line, and that's some pre-made plans.
Yeah.
But like that live on the run, calling an audible and making something happen, that's like there's an art to that. There's kind of a magic, right?
Right.
And it's some of the most epic plays that you'll see, like replays of, are broken plays. Like that didn't go how we wanted, or the snap gets bobbled and it doesn't go in your hands clean and you trip, or so. I think we just saw it the other few weeks ago. Quarterback they'll get stepped on sometimes by their own linemen, and they'll trip and fall.
Ouch.
I think it was Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
That happened to him. He got up, had the poise to get up, and I'm like, oh, he's going to get sacked. He's going to get just annihilated. He got up and ran in for a touchdown. That wasn't the play. Like, I mean, some people do draw up trick plays like that where they pretend to fall down, and it's pretty funny to see it executed. But that's a different thing entirely. But making something happen when you don't expect what is coming at you, that's a muscle, and that's hard work. And I know I say that a lot, but it takes presence, and I guess to bring it back to the book, takes a strong foundation. It's you need to have strong ground to stand on.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah,
I see what you did there.
Yeah, couldn't help myself.
I bet. So the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is around the chapter on daring leadership. So you probably know there was a book, Daring Leadership.
Was it Daring to Lead?
Dare to Lead.
Dare to Lead.
Dare to Lead.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed the book when that came out. But what Brené has done is she and her team have been collecting data from that point on when they've been working with teams. And so they've been able to build out the research on different things about things that matter to leaders and that are important foundations. And one of the things that she talked about was how important it is to have courage as a leader. And I think that's really important too. It's not always easy to do, but it can make such a difference if you can have the courage to do hard things.
Okay. So like hard conversations, or like, tell me more about that.
Yeah. So the thing in the book I thought was helpful was she did talk a lot about how do you have those conversations that aren't always easy to have. Because I think so many of us, when we're in organizations, or in organizations that sometimes we just want to be nice, right?
Or in a relationship with somebody.
Or in a relationship, right?
Like it's not just about work, right?
Not rock
like,
the boat. Yeah.
This is like where I come in. Like probably what I was thinking when I was listening to that is I'm like, oh, this isn't just for work. Like this is in every relationship. It's tricky to bring up tricky things.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I know you and I have spent quite a bit of time just trying to figure out how do we say the things, because we don't want to withhold something, but we also don't want to say something that's not necessary.
Oh, is this the same stuff where she talks about like how people bring their armor?
Yes.
And
yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go listen to that again and the book, because that really stood out to me as I'm like, oh yeah, I get my armor goes up sometimes. Yeah. And so then you have to tread lightly, because part of my armor isn't just a shield. It's I've got to poke back at you before you can get me again kind of thing. And you're never really poking at me. It's just the way that I internalize some little things here and there. And so, yeah, okay. Tell me some more about this. I really want to hear what was standing out to you about this.
Yeah. What was helpful was she used a number of she calls them rumbles.
Yeah. Okay.
So a rumble is essentially a hard conversation that you have with somebody that you decide that you are going to be courageous, that you are going to stick with it, even if it's uncomfortable, and you're not going to just walk away from it. And she gives some rumble starters, which I think is helpful, because sometimes you'll be in a conversation and it's really easy just to let something go.
Is it not for me? I think we talked about this last time.
Like say you were having a conversation with someone and they brought up something that you didn't agree with. Say they were talking about I don't even know what's like your hockey team's arch rival.
I don't even know anymore. But like, say they said something like bad about the Red Wings, right?
Yes. Okay.
And I'd just be like, oh, I'm not getting into this.
Right.
Right. Or yeah.
Right. So if somebody like came and said that and said, the Red Wings are the worst team in the NFL and always have been.
NHL.
What did I say?
I said NFL.
Oh, sorry. NHL. Yeah, the hockey, not football. I do know the difference.
See, I could have just let that go, right?
You could have, but you didn't. I like the courage you had there.
Okay.
So high stakes. But I wrote just a few of them down because I wanted to share them with you, the ones that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
That I thought, gosh, if you were having a conversation with somebody and disagreeing on something that really mattered, not that I'm saying the Red Wings don't matter.
It's a hobby. Like it doesn't matter that much to me.
Right.
But
hey. So some of these I think could be helpful. Mm-hmm. So one of them is the story I make up ... Mm-hmm. And so let's go back to that example of the orthodontics bill. Mm-hmm. If I was upset, right, and I felt like, okay, we need to talk. I need him to do this. One thing I could say is, Keith, the story I'm making up in my head is that you didn't call the orthodontist because you don't want to be helpful to me and take a load off of me.
Right.
Right. Or you could say something similar.
Right.
Right. So it's a nice
Well, why do I always have to do it? Right.
Right. But it's
your turn.
But it is a nice way to kind of set it up, because it frames it not as like you've decided this is the truth, but you said like, hey, this is what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
And I just need some help either course correcting or talking about something if it is true and understanding it more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I found when we have discussions where you or I can show up and in that way of saying, okay, whatever just happened or whatever was just said, when I hear that, this is what I actually hear, even though those aren't the exact words you said.
Right.
But that's what it makes me think and feel, kind of thing. That's how I interpret that. And but being able to have that dialogue with each other versus letting maybe my feelings over semantics or what connotations words have, like that, it matters.
Sure.
And like we never try to use words against each other, but that doesn't mean that they don't have different feelings, and not that you have to stop saying a certain word because I thought it meant this or that.
Right.
So being able to communicate that helps move along versus like creating resentments or getting below the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Another one, another rumble starter.
Yeah.
I'll use the noun there. Is that's not my experience. ...
Oh, I remember that one now.
Yep.
Yep.
And
that was a good one.
It is, because I find, and it's not all the time, but I do find that sometimes in past organizations that I've been at, people come and kind of want to throw somebody else under the bus or tear someone else down specifically. I would say
broad brushstrokes, right?
Broad, yep, like,
this is how they are all the time. Or
I know, they're so, they're lazy. They never finish their things on time. They're not reliable, but when you've had experiences with that person and they have shown up, they have followed through. I've used that before, not even knowing it's a rumble starter, but that's not been my experience.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard you say that to people, like, and so when it came up in the book, I'm like, this feels oddly familiar. I'm like, I think Laura said this before, like, because when you hear somebody just blanketly say something that is subjective, it's like, okay, how, like, I feel like you're coming, like, now with, like, after reading part of this book, it's like I can see, like, oh, they're coming from below the line,
right?
And so, but like, I've never thought that before. I'm like, oh, I would usually just say, oh, this person's cranky, and I guess maybe they had a bad experience with so and so, or at that restaurant, or when like someone's telling you about a bad experience at a restaurant or a hotel.
Yeah, that's another,
like,
right?
And you're like, but when I went there, the food was great. So like, this is like, oh, that's not been my experience.
I just remembered a dream I had last night.
Oh no. Okay.
No, and it's not even anything, but it was just that somebody that we hang out with quite a bit came and said, well, this restaurant is terrible and it's the last one you ever want to go to. It's like the one that we would probably pick and go to on date night more often than not here.
That's funny.
And I was just like, I don't know what to say. Like, I was really nervous about it.
Oh, I guess that's
I don't know if I pulled this out in my dream.
Right,
I should have.
Well, and that's like, I guess that's sometimes one of those situations where you just let it go and just let them have their, just, it's like, is that something I want to get into?
Guess I won't be seeing you down there.
Yeah, funny. Okay.
And then I only had one other one.
Yeah.
And this one is, what problem are we trying to solve? ... And I use that one. I do use that one as well. Again, not even realizing that it's a rumble starter, but I use that one a lot, especially when it's a really tense meeting or situation that we're trying to work through, and there's lots of different ways of thinking about something, and we aren't on the same page, and there's tension. Sometimes I do say, okay, hold on, let's take a step back, time out. What is the problem we're trying to solve? Let's center ourselves back to, what is it that we want to do and accomplish by what we're talking about here?
Yeah, getting that focus back to what we're actually coming together for.
Yeah.
Focus can wander when people have strong feelings.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And so that's and it's difficult to maybe de-escalate those types of situations. And yeah, I'm always looking for ways to navigate situations like that where maybe somebody, I don't know if railroading's the right word, but like somebody's, this is gonna sound hard. They're kind of wasting everybody's time by taking up lots of space and kind of off track.
Sure.
And it's just like, I'm like, how do I gently interrupt and get us back on track?
Yeah.
And so these types of phrases to like have in your head to like, okay, how do I pull us back on track?
Right.
Or how do I address, the fact that we are not on topic here. Like
right.
Like maybe we can have another meeting about that later. Like,
right.
But that's, yeah, like what's the, yeah, not even talking about what you think you're talking about. Like the meeting is for this. Why are we talking about, what's going on over there?
Yeah. Well, and sometimes too, I think the meetings definitely start going, I've been in meetings where you start to get really practical to the point where you're losing track of what is it we're actually trying to do. And people are tense because they're throwing out ideas. It's like, nope, practically it doesn't work in this way or that way. And so I think there is this also to get people to zoom out if they're off topic or getting so far in the weeds that it's throwing you off.
Yeah, they're focused on tactics and the nitty gritty of implementation, and it's like, no, let's pull back because what are we actually aiming for?
Right.
And I can see in that like people being so focused that they can't see the forest for the trees, right?
Yeah.
And then they get locked into like those broad brushstrokes that they've had of their like, what is it?
Yeah.
The institutional knowledge, right? Like that's how it can feel for people. But sometimes it's not great to hold on to things that it's hard to give up the old ways, but it's also hard to create new ways of moving forward.
Right.
So
right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those. I'll have to go back, and I bet those are on the PDF.
Yeah, they are.
And we have the hardcover.
Yeah, we do. So either place you can find them.
Cool.
But I will say anybody that's interested in learning more and developing their skills around this, check out the book or, check out the list. My guess is some of them might even be on Brené's website or LinkedIn post she's been doing because it's helpful to give yourself some of those tools to have those hard conversations and not just let nice culture take over.
Right. Yeah, you need to be effective.
Yeah.
And that can be hard, but it's also rewarding.
Yeah. So the last thing that I want to talk about just real briefly, just kind of bring it all back to that idea of being self-aware.
Okay.
And how important being self-aware is. And I wanted to, is it okay if I read a quote that I wrote down?
Yeah.
From Brené from
Absolutely.
The book club. And so this is something I keep going back to. And so I'll just read it and then maybe we can chat.
Yeah.
It's never been more important as a leader to be predictable, to be sure-footed. And the best and most important skill for being predictable, for bringing stability, and for being brave when the world is scary, the most important skill, hands down, is self-awareness. I think that speaks to the core of this book of that to be able to be predictable and steady when things are moving and changing and shifting, bring that stability, especially, when she said when the world is scary, I think a lot of us are feeling that unpredictability and the shifting and the changing day after day, whether it's politics, whether it is wars, technology shifting so quickly, AI, right?
Yeah.
I think being able to know yourself and sink into your values and what you know and what you do. And she actually said, as you develop as a leader, remember who you are at your core and don't shift and get away from that, double down on it.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really cool and just a kind of a little mantra I'm going to take with me.
I love it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Totally agree. Should we wrap it up?
I think we can.
That's a good place to stop, right?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you too.